Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. So here with me, Teacher Hanan for our English lesson. And for today, we are going to discuss on the current format of English SPM. Okay, so 2021 SPM candidate. All right, this year you are going to sit for your English language paper with the current format. So as we know, there have been some transition from KBSM to KASM, right? And this year is going to be something everyone's waiting for, okay? Because there's some interesting changing going on, new things to adapt and so whatnot. Okay, and for that, we are going to discuss all that throughout the session lah. Okay, so before we discuss further, let's look at some terminology. Okay, so these are the words that you are going to see a lot later on. Okay, so for us to understand better, okay, the content for today's session, let's just discuss the meaning of this word. Okay, first you will have the word instrument. Okay, so instrument for this session means the paper itself. Okay, when we are talking about the paper, we are going to use the word instrument. Okay, so next one we have the word items. Okay, item is actually referring to the question. Okay, kalau sebelum ni, okay, we know the question as question 1, question 2, question 3, right? So now all these questions are known as item. So we are going to call all the question as item 1, item 2, item 3, and so forth. Okay. Right. Next, we have the word parts. Okay. Parts is actually referring to sections. Okay. Previously, we have section A, section B, right? Okay. So nowadays, all these sections is going to be known as parts. So it's no longer going to be A, B, C, D. Okay, all these parts are going to be known in number. So part 1, part 2, part 3, and so whatnot. Okay, so these are the terms that we are going to play a lot today. Okay, so for us to understand better, okay, for this session, there are materials that are needed for you guys to have. Okay, so first, definitely you will need your notebook lah. Okay, so notebook, okay, make sure for you to jot down everything. Okay, whatever thing we discussed today, be sure to jot down everything. Okay, it's good for you to as your future reference later on. Okay, and for you to jot down everything, definitely you need your stationeries. Okay, so be prepared with your pen, your pencil, your highlighter. Okay, any stationeries that you think necessary. Okay, and most importantly, okay, please have your booklet. Okay, so the booklet of Taklimat Penjajaran Mata Pelajaran Bahasa Inggeris Sukatan Tahun Baru. Sukatan Tahun Baru pula. Sukatan Baru tahun 2021. Okay, be sure to have this booklet lah. Because whatever thing we discuss today is already in your booklet. So you will refer lah dekat situ. Okay, so why is it important for us to have this session? It is because I need everyone to understand the current instrument, okay, format of SPM English paper. It's very important for you to understand everything so that it will be easier for you later on. Okay, you know what you are going to focus on, okay, what are you going to do later on, and where is actually you are going to go after this. Okay, so be sure to stay alert all the time, right? Okay, so next, instrument. Baru tadi kita cakap pasal instrument, right? Okay, instrument format. Okay, instruments referring to the paper lah. Okay, so here as we can see, there are 4 instruments. Okay, for this year. Okay, first you would have the 119/1 Bahasa Inggeris Kertas 1. Okay, in which you are going to be tested on your reading skill. Okay, so this is the first instrument. Second, Bahasa Inggeris Kertas 2 119/2 Kemahiran menulis. So crystal clear, you are going to be tested on your writing skills. Okay, alright, so third instrument, Bahasa Inggeris Kertas 3 119/3 Kemahiran bertutur. Okay, so for this particular instrument or particular paper, you are going to be assessed fully on your speaking, your ability of answering, okay, your ability of giving question, your ability of responding towards your friend's question, okay, and also your ability to be whole of the conversation, okay, to maintain conversation, and last but not least, also tested on your ability to come up with conclusion lah. during the discussion session. Okay. Alright, next one. 1119/4 Bahasa Inggeris Kertas 4 Kemahiran Mendengar. Okay, so this is quite new for SPM. Okay, because previously we don't have any paper for listening, but now we have already. But for you guys, the KASM batch, this one is not something new for you guys since you have the listening paper for your PT3. And to be said that actually, the instrument over here is quite similar to what you have previously. It's basically an adaptation lah. Similar in terms of the format, but what makes the instrument for PT3 and also SPM different, I would probably say it's because of the level lah. Kita boleh kata the level lah is different. The level of the difficulty between PT3 and also SPM lah. Okay. Alright. So let's not waste our time. Okay. Let's go straight away to the first instrument. Reading and usage of English. Okay. So for this instrument, there are 3 instruments for this paper. Okay. So you would have multiple choice question, the MCQ question. So you will have option of A, B, C, or either A, B, C, D lah for this part. Okay, and then you will also have open-ended question. Okay, and a short response. Okay, so short response means limited number of words. Okay, so you need to only answer according to the number of words. Let's say the question required you to answer no more than 1 word, no more than 3 words. So that is the exact number of word lah yang you kena buat kan. Okay. So how many instruments altogether for this part? Okay, there are 5 instruments. Okay. So you will have part 1 and part 5. Okay, so for part 1, you have 8 items. Part 2, 10 items. Part 3, 8 items. Part 4, 6 items. And also part 5, 8 items. What are the items or how the items? No worries, I'm going to explain everything later on. So I'm going to include the examples, okay, throughout the video lah for you guys to see and to understand better. Okay, so the construct, okay, or the skills needed here for reading paper is the ability of you to understand, okay, to comprehend the paper, okay, the question. For example, maybe the comprehension question, okay, and you will also required to do some application to analyze, okay, analyze the text, analyze the answer, and also to evaluate, okay. And the total marks for this paper is 40 marks because there's 40 items over here, so one item carry 1 mark. So 40 items, 40 marks. Okay. And the time suggested over here is 1 hour 30 minutes. So 1 hour 30 minutes for 40 items. Okay. Alright. So let's just look at the example so that it's clear for everyone. So part 1. Okay. So this is part 1. Example of part 1. So remember just now part 1 we have 8 items. Okay. So there are 8 items for this kind of question. Okay. So for part 1 you are going to be given stimulus. And each question is based on a stimuli. Okay, so 8 different stimulus with 8 different questions. Okay, and this part, the instrument is on MCQ. So you will need to choose the best answer lah from A, B, C. Okay, so 8 items for this part. Okay, second part, part 2, you would have to fill in the missing blank. Okay, so you will given a passage, okay, this kind of passage, and there are blanks. Okay, you will need to give correct answer. Okay, and for this particular part, you are going to be tested on your grammar skill. Okay, it's somehow similar to the previous section we have, section A, under rational clause. Hampir sama sebenarnya lah. Okay, tested on your grammar, and these are the answers given to you lah. So you have to choose the best answer from A, B, C, and D. Okay, so part 2 done. Next one, moving on to part 3. Okay, part 3 is a reading comprehension question. Okay, so you are going to be given a text. a passage of a 1-page length. Okay, satu muka surat dia punya kepanjangan teks dia lah. Okay, so 1-page length like this. And you need to answer comprehension question. Okay, so these are the 8 comprehension question. Sorry, the 8 comprehension items. Okay, bear in mind question equal to items. Okay, so 8 items of comprehension question. Okay, so for this part, you are going to play a lot with the WH questions. So for you to really understand, to really comprehend this part, make sure you know WH questions very well. Okay, right. So next one, let's move on to part 4. Okay, so part 4. Okay, this is the question for part 4. I would say this one is a matching gap question. Okay, in which you are given a text. Okay, and then throughout the text there are some missing sentences. Okay, so you are given the answers. Okay, what you need to do is you need to match the answers here to the text over here. Okay, so fill in the text so that it will complete the passage or the story. Okay, so next one, the final part, we have part 5. Okay, so part 5 is similarly like information transfer. Okay, so you will be given a text over here or a passage, and then you need to fill in the blanks over here. Okay, so there's 2 parts. Okay, for this part, they are going to be separated. Okay, so first part of the question is question item 33 until 36. Okay, so you need to answer the question, and then question 37 until the end of the question 40 is where you need to do short response. Okay, here you answer your response should be within the limitation mentioned in the question lah. So if the question like this one, choose only 1 word, no more than 1 word. So it's a compulsory for you to give only 1 word answer. If you give more than 1 answer, then your answers are incorrect. Okay, all right, so that is all for a reading paper. Okay, so moving on to next instrument, writing. Okay, the type of instrument for this paper is a closed-ended and an open-ended. So closed-ended question and also open-ended question lah. So number of instrument, you will have 3 different parts. So first part, you will have 1 item for this part. So it's compulsory for you to answer this part. Okay, part 2, another 1 item, and also part 3. This one is quite different. Okay, because you have 3 items, but you need to only choose 1 item. Meaning to say 3 question, you only choose 1. Choose 1 question for you to write an essay. Okay, so the skills tested over here is on understanding, application, analyze, and also evaluate. So 4 different skills to be tested here. Okay, and the total marks carried for this part or this instrument is 60 marks. Okay, so 60 marks mean 20 marks for each of the part. So part 1 carry 20 marks, part 2 carry 20 marks, and part 3 also carry 20 marks. So altogether 60 marks. Okay, and this time, the time suggested over here is 1 hour 30 minutes. Okay, so 1 hour 30 minutes for 3 parts. Okay, so let's look at the example. Okay, question. Okay, so this is for part 1. Okay, part 1. Okay, if you notice, part 1 is almost similar to the one you have in PT3. Okay, for part 1, it's a short message response. Okay, you need to respond to a message. So your response can be either in a form of emails, note, message, or maybe informal letter lah, but very short one. Okay, because if you notice here, the length only required you to write within 80 words. So very short one lah, simple and short. Okay, so this is part 1. Okay, next you would have part 2. Part 2, okay, the difference between part 1 and part 2 is on the length. Okay, kalau part 1 tadi you have 80 words, part 2 it's longer, 120 word to 150 words. Okay, and then the type of instrument, sorry, the type of item is an open-ended. Okay, the item is open-ended. Like here we have the question on how you would spend the money. Okay, so it's very it's a free essay for you to write lah, but with certain guideline. Okay, so this is part 2. Also carry 20 marks. And last but not least, we have part 3. So part 3, 3 items, only choose 1 item to answer. Okay, so for this part, it is said to be a formatted essay lah. So maybe you are required to write an article, a report, a speech, or even a movie review. Okay, those kind of question lah. So you are given a stimulus. Okay, write something based on the stimulus. Okay, and also this part, you will carry another 20 marks for this part. Okay, all right. So 20, 20, 20, or 60 marks. Okay, all right. So that is done for writing paper. Okay, so now let's move on to our next instrument, the speaking instrument. Okay, so for this particular assessment, you are going to have a closed-ended and open-ended response. Okay, so maybe short response and also longer response. Okay, so for this one, there are 3 parts altogether for speaking. Part 1, part 2, and part 3. So for part 1, okay, part 1 is said to be a starter unit, a warmer up for the candidates, in which the interlocutor is going to ask you guys question, mostly revolves around the students, the candidates, maybe like asking question like your name, your hobby, your favorite activity, your favorite subjects, your family members, those kind of questions that related to the candidate. Okay, and then you will have part 2. Okay, so part 2 and part 3, I will discuss further with the example later on. Okay, and the skills tested over here, okay, is upon your understanding, okay, application, analyzing, okay, and also evaluate. Okay, and next one on the marks. Okay, this instrument carry 24 marks. Okay, and the time suggested, okay, very short, 13 minutes. 13 minutes throughout the parts, from part 1 until part 3. Everything should be within 13 minutes. Okay, so it's going to be a very short one. Okay, 13 minutes tu sekejap je sebenarnya, right? So let's look at the example. Okay, part 1 just now I've mentioned the interlocutor is going to ask question, particularly revolve around the candidates. Okay, and then part 2. Okay, part 2 is this one is an individual task. Okay, so because one thing you need to know, for speaking, you are going to be assigned in a pair. Okay, but for part 2, you are going to be assessed as individual. Okay, so for this part, you are going to talk about a topic given to you. Okay, for example, a family celebration. You are going to talk about family celebration, and one good thing about this instrument is you are already given the guidelines. So these guidelines will surely help you in your response. Okay, so like this one, a family celebration, you need to talk about family celebration you had recently. So you should say what the event, okay, so mention the name of the event, what you did there, okay, so during family celebration, what activity you do. If you enjoy yourself, why or why not? So give reason. Why do you enjoy family celebration, or why you don't like family celebration? And last but not least, okay, for you to give your opinion on a topic. Like for this one, why do you think family celebration are important in Malaysia? So you have your right to speak up for your opinion lah. So you boleh bagi opinion lah, apa pendapat you tentang topik ni dan sebagainya. Okay, so this question is for candidate A. Okay, so when candidate A is doing the task, candidate B is going to listen. Towards the end of the part, candidate B is going to be asked question about the topic. Okay, so that is to say that candidate B, you should be alert when candidate when candidate A is giving the response. Okay, all right. So next, okay, here is another question for candidate B lah. So the question for candidate B, after candidate B have done the task, candidate A is going to be answered question about candidate B. So it's something like this. It's a cross. The task is cross. Candidate A giving response, candidate B are going to be asked question. Candidate B giving response, candidate A is going to be asked question about candidate B's topic. Okay, so that is part 2, individual. Okay, next one for part 3. Okay, the final part for speaking paper. Okay, this one is a pair discussion, okay, in which candidate A and candidate B, you need to discuss together about a topic. Okay, for example, here we have, why do people shop online? Okay, you are given a topic, and no worries here, you don't have to think of the idea because everything is laid out already for you. So you just need to carry the task and discuss. Okay, so like this one, given to you 6 different ideas on why people shop online. So you can talk about no crowds, time saving, it's better prices, it's also convenient, wide variety, and also follow the trend. Okay, so you discuss throughout the time, and finally you need to come out with a decision on which one or which more than one reason why people shop online. Okay, right. So for here, you are going to be tested on how you ask question, how you respond to the question, how do you initiate your partner in a speaking, in a discussion. Okay, all right. So that is all for speaking part. Okay, next one, moving on to listening part. Okay, listening part for SPM, as I said before, for SPM this is something new, but for KSM batch, this is somehow similar to what you have in your PT3. Almost similar. Okay, ada beza dia. Okay, and let's look at the type of instrument. Okay, for this part, you would have MCQ, so another series of MCQ question and a short response. Okay, so number of instrument, there are 4 instruments here. So each instruments carry different items. Part 1, you have 7 items. Part 2, you have 8 items. Part 3, you have 5 items. And part 4, you would have 10 items. So altogether, 30 items. Okay, so 30 items which carry a total marks of 30 marks. So one item carry 1 marks. Okay, and the skills required over here is on understanding and also application, right? And for this part, the time suggestion is 40 minutes. So 40 minutes for you to finish all the 30 items. Okay, so let's look at the example. Okay, this is examples for part 1. Okay, so part 1 you will have item 1 until 7. So this is from one audio. So first audio is for item 1 until 7. And then you have another round of audio for part 2. Okay, item number 8 until item number 15. So another round of audio. Okay, for part 2. Also MCQ, okay, with an option of A, B, and also C. And then we have for part 3. So part 3 is a matching question, matching gap question. So you need to match and also match ataupun maybe sequence. Tengoklah, it depends on the question. Sometimes it can be sequence, sometimes it can be matching. Okay, so part 3. Last but not least, part 4. Okay, so part 4, you're going to hear to an audio, either advertisement ke, a text ke, a conversation, and then from the audio, you're going to fill in the blank on the passage upon the topic. So yang ni is your response required a short response. Okay, no more than 3 words, no more than 5 words. Okay, depend on the question lah. Right. So that is the final part for listening. Okay. All right. Okay, yeah, everyone, we have come to the end of the session. So thank you everyone for your time. You are doing very great. You are very excellent. Okay, if you would like to know further about the question, maybe ada yang tak dapat nak catch up sikit kan daripada session tadi. You guys can check on my description below. Okay, I'm going to share you the link to Buku Format SPM 2021. Okay. So it's going to be there on the description. You can just click the link and read. Okay, because there's lots of description there lah. Banyak lagi detail you boleh cari daripada situ lah. Okay, to help you understand the format and so whatnot. Okay, so I guess that's all for to me. Really looking forward to see you guys again next time. With another topic and lesson. Okay, so bye-bye and assalamualaikum everyone.